I met a gypsy.
We're good,
Hey,
dude.
I'm down.
You want to talk? You want a marathon talk, bro? I got you.
I'm here for it. So the one thing that I didn't talk to Colt about that I kind of wanted to was heritage. You ain't all white. You're from Oklahoma, and you got some of that Native American blood in there. What is, I mean, not. Where does that sit in, like, where you are now? Like, that development of you, like, there's a heritage there that comes from this place that, like, that's not a common thing in moto. That's not a storyline that we talk about. That's not something that we're, like, used to kind of diving into. Like, how does that fit into your storyline?
I know it is a unique thing, and it's also, speaking of Colt, it's very cool that the only two, like, Native American pro Supercross racers have both won Supercross Championships. Like, that's pretty cool, because, you know, we grew up together, best friends since we were 5 years old, so always being around each other, like, it was normal to us, you know, and a lot of people back home, you know, that's where people went when they got forced from their homes. Was a lot of them went to Oklahoma, so that's where I'm Seminole. So originally, if you go back, that'd be Florida. And then Colt is Cherokee, so different tribes, but I mean, there's a lot of different tribes, but definitely back home it's a lot different too. Like I get my car tags from like the Seminole tribe. Like, I don't get them through like the normal DMV, you know.
Really?
And I have like a card, I've got like a Seminole Nation card, and, you know, do stuff through there. And throughout school, there's like programs for kids if you need it, stuff like that. But growing up with that, it's like my dad is a white person. Like, my dad's white, like super white. So it looked like I was adopted when I was a kid, right? But my mom is obviously not. So I got a funny mix of the two. But me and Colt being best friends too is like hilarious, because it's like almost like it was supposed to be. We're both these Indian kids racing dirt bikes. Our birthdays are a day apart. You know, we kind of look similar. He won't agree with you on that, because he tells everyone that he's the best looking out of anyone in the crew, which we'll give it to him. You know, he can have that. And we all say it boils down to the fact that he's got the confidence for the dangly earring and we don't. So we'll give him that one, man. But yeah, man, I know, I remember meeting my great grandma when I was like super young, and like, she spoke like the language and everything, like didn't speak like super great English, like, which is crazy, man. Like, that stuff's crazy. It's crazy that I even remember that, but it was like such a foreign thing to me as like a child. Nah, the crazy thing is like, I mean, couple generations removed from like it being like that. It seems like it should have been like so long ago, but it really wasn't. So, and that's a lot of the, you know, race is always such a hot topic with everybody, but when it's your lineage and like the things that have happened to like your culture and people, it's like you kind of understand from trying to understand what other people are going through or dealing with, or how they feel about stuff, because dude, some gnarly stuff's happened to some people. So it's like, I do think too though that like just through your DNA and like just over time, like you have certain things from being, you know, parts of certain cultures and whatever. So I don't know, man, I'm grateful for it, because it's a, you know, my grandparents and people like that is like a different way of looking at life and stuff, you know. So it's always been very cool to see, and it's nice to have that as like a part of me as well. Like, obviously I grew up in Oklahoma, but I raced dirt bikes and make music my whole life, so it's not like I'm going to powwows. Like, I did go to a few when I was a kid, but I don't remember them really, none of that. So it's like not like I'm like, you know, fully immersed in the culture, but the older I get, the more I want to know about it too. The more I want to learn about where all this stuff came from for like me and my family and stuff, you know. So I don't know, it's cool, it's interesting, because it's not like a normal thing in like our world for sure, but like I said, for like me and Colt, it's like, I don't know, just what we were around growing up, so it seems normal.
Yeah, dude, the race thing is a hard one, but I look at Jalek Swoll, and I'm just like, fuck yes, dope black kid racing motocross. and I look at you and Colt, I'm like, that's some dope ass Indian boys that are racing this shit. And why is that important? Why does that matter? And it's like, fundamentally, race doesn't matter, right? In terms of what a person is. Like, the color of their skin fundamentally doesn't matter at all. But where race does matter is the inclusion of things, and the way that when you're a kid and you grow up and you see, like, I don't think, and for Jalek, like, it makes no sense for him to think too much about this, you know, like, it makes sense for me to think about it. It's kind of my job. But it's like, dude, being a young black kid in this sport makes other young black kids want to do this sport. And it's not that it's other black kids that we want. It's just like, we want everybody. You want every kid. And it's like, when you're a young Indian kid, a Native American kid that's killing it in the sport, it's like, I want more of those people in the sport. And then you bring that angle and you bring those storylines and you bring that flavor, and it just adds to this, like, depth, you know? It's like this recipe for in cooking, you know, like, you don't just want to eat fucking white rice. Like, you need some soy sauce, you need some spices, you need some flavor. Like, that shit is cool. You start to add all these different ingredients and all these different cultures into the mix, and these different perspectives and these different backgrounds, and there's some energy that you and Colt can tap into, you know? Like, if you're a Cherokee Indian, bro, like, that's some gangster shit that you've got, like, only a couple generations,
spirit, baby.
For real, man. And it's like, but that's a fucking dope storyline. That's a dope storyline for me as a fan to buy into. And, like, I can't wait to have Jalek on this podcast, dude. Like, that has been through some shit, and it's like, look at him. He won a national this year, when, like, there's no reason that kid should have ever won a national. And it's like, there's other black kids out there that could look at Jalek Swoll and just be like, fuck, I could fully do that, man. And then you see, like, you're like, one of the fastest dude ever to ride a dirt bike, James Stewart, black kid. Malcolm Stewart is as good as it gets, black kid. Jalek Swoll, black kid. You start to think, like, other black kids are like, hey, some of the best dudes that have ever done this sport have been black kids just like me. Maybe I can hustle and make this shit work. And then there's other Indian kids out there that look at what you guys have done, and you're like, damn, man, like, that's the two Native American kids that were ever in this championship both won championships. Maybe there's something to this shit. Maybe I could be that guy, you know? So it's like, race doesn't matter, but race does matter.
It's like that with anything that you talk about. Like, it's always such a touchy subject, but, like, it doesn't matter, like you said, fundamentally it's who you are as a person, but it matters, because how could it not? Of course it matters, you know? Everyone goes through different things. Like, people's stories are different. People's obstacles that they've had to deal with, hardships they've had to endure, it's all different for everybody. So, of course it matters, man. But, yeah, like, even, like you're saying, man, like, just having different cultures and different types of people, just in general, being a part of something, man, all it does is, you know, maybe there are some closed-minded people that don't really...
That definitely are.
...get it. So maybe the inclusion of other people being around kind of gives them perspective and opens their eyes a little bit over time to understand, like, all right, look, man, we all love the same thing. We can't be that much different, you know?
Yeah.
So... yeah, man, of course it matters. Of course it does. But, and it would be, me and Colt talk about it all the time, man. It'd be really, really cool to be able to do that, to, like, inspire kids like us from where we're from, which is, like, super small town places in Oklahoma where, you know, it's not super normal to have, like, big dreams and want to go places and be somebody and do something, you know? Like, it's just not that that you couldn't, it's just that maybe you don't even know it's possible.
Yeah,
so for us, we always look at it like, man, it'd be so cool to be able to, you know, go back, or even just by living, inspire kids to understand, like, yo, you could be somebody. Like, how crazy is that? You could be somebody. I was just a kid that grew up there too. My dad wasn't a racer. My mom wasn't an athlete. My parents weren't rich. I was just a kid like y'all, and I live my dream. So I think just that inspiration is more important than anything. You don't need to give people the guidebook on how to do it. You just got to let them know that they can do it. Like, it's a thing you can do, and then you figure it out yourself.
Yeah, dude, 100%, man. And it's like J. Cole song, man. It's like no role models, you know? Like, if you don't have those role models around you, because that's the shit, like, that can move the needle, you know? Like, you can be the guy that, like, looks up to a Jalek Swoll. And have you ever been to the Stewart compound?
I have not, no.
Oh, dude. So you drive into, like, the road to go into the Stewart compound, and you look around, you're like, wait, what? Like, this is where they came from? Like, there ain't fucking dirt bikes here, dude. Like, and then you start listening to rap, like, really listening to rap, and you want to hear about, like, Dade County, Florida. Like, that ain't a place where a fucking dirt bike kid can come from, let alone the fastest dude to ever do it. It is crazy, man. And it was crazy to me that, I don't know, like, I think the era that James come up in, like, I know they dealt with, like, some hardcore racism. Like, I seen that shit firsthand. So if anyone, and, like, I've mentioned it, like, once or twice on the podcast, and then I had people come back at me with comments about, like, you know, typical bullshit. I'm like, hey, I fucking saw it. I was literally right there. But it's like, you drive to that place, man, you drive through that town, and it's like, I wish so bad that was more a part of the story, was just like a real genuine appreciation for, like, just how fucking far that family came, dude. It is honestly miraculous, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for the way that that family went about their life, and they made their dreams come true in that sense. And it's like, dude, in that story is the most, like, inspirational shit ever. And it was like this part of this that everyone just kind of, like, almost swept under the rug or didn't want to acknowledge. And it was, I don't know, it was almost like faded out of the fucking history books in a way, you know? But it's like, there is power in that story. And it's the same, like, I know the shit that Jalek's been through, and it's like, you know, you guys coming from, you know, small town Oklahoma, like, you've only got to go to Indian reservations, like, even in, like, Parler and shit, to know that it ain't common to be doing what you're doing. And when you're an uncommon person, or you come from an uncommon situation, and you've reached the heights that all you guys have reached, it's like, that shit is worth fucking celebrating and putting aside any bullshit to be like, damn, dude, like, they fucking did it. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform, or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.